Hi everyone. Today we're going to be going over blood spatter that was found in the Crowley home, and I will be showing you quite a few pictures and then the edits I have done to help bring out either the blood spatter, the pattern, or images behind the pattern like the quote-unquote footprints. I figured out how they did it and we will go over that. And it turns out that if you remember in another video I said I thought that it looked like there was a bloody handprint on the floor. That's exactly what it was, and I will show you that photo as well with the edits so you can see that it actually is a handprint. And then the different stages of the blood drying. You will see clotted blood, you will see skeletonized blood, and you will also see actual just blood spatter, and all of those indicate separate events. That tells you and everybody that they were injured, hurt, beat, or whatever at different times. They didn't die right away. This wasn't just a simple gunshot to the head, as we know, and it wasn't also about the dog eating them. Somebody did this damage to them and they tortured them for a while, which is very, very sad. It's taken me so long to do this because every time I'd get to a new slide and I would see new proof, I just couldn't take it. Okay, sorry about the interruption. The first thing you will notice on the slides that you will see next, sorry about that, turning up the volume on the computer, you're going to see the mathematical equations that were done to figure out the angle, the degree of angle of where the blood spatter was coming from. And then the next slide after that, you will see a sample on slide where it shows the item number 19, and you will see a straight line of blood, and then you will see two other forms of blood, one which is skeletonized and one that is just a regular medium velocity blood spatter. They're both medium velocity, both the skeletonized and the other one. And then you'll see the arrow. Look at the arrow as it's going through the blood. It might be hard to see, but it'll be a thin black line with an arrow at the end. One of them is going this way, another is going this way. So we have on this particular photograph that they took, there are two directions of blood flow, and on a couple of the others you will see three, sometimes four different directions of blood flow. That means that whoever was bleeding was and when you see the drop and then what they call the tail, you'll see a big spot and then it kind of tapers off. That's called the tail. That means that the person was going this direction. They were moving this way when the blood fell and it went this way. And so when you see the tail coming this way, they were moving this way, the blood drops and it goes this way. So you'll see on this one where you see the tail, the arrow going up like this, you know that whoever's blood was that, they were going in this direction trying to move, and then another point they were going this way, trying to move this way as the blood then drops this way. It gets a little confusing, but look at that blood and it will tell you so much information. They were hit multiple times. This is not a David snapping and just shooting Kamel in the head and shooting Rania in the head and then shooting himself. And then that's just a convenient little simple cleanup. That's not what happened. They were, like I said before, systematically beaten and during over an extended period of time. In the second picture you will see where you'll have like the little diagram with explaining things. In that particular one alone are two separate events. At least two, maybe three on that one. Excuse me, three. And as we'll go down farther, I will stop and we'll see, and I'll show you where there's blood direction coming from, at least three directions on that one. So again, I'm going to stop here. I'll let you view some more videos, some pictures in the video, and then I'll jump back in later. Okay, and on this section, you're going to see the bloody handprints on the ground. You see a left handprint and a right handprint, clear as day, and I will do the edits so as you keep looking. First you have the initial photos that you just see the blood, and this is where it's coagulated / clotted blood. And this tells you that it was older blood. It takes 3 to 15 minutes for blood to coagulate and clot on the ground. So obviously they had been bleeding. That blood had been on the ground a while before the other spatter had taken place. But look at that. And you can see this part of the left hand and the thumb, and these two, it's like this, almost like they landed like this. And you can see just barely the outline of the right hand as well. Look at those photos. That tells you whoever is injured at least landed on their hands. And take a look at that and review the rest of the photos. And then the section after the bloody handprints, which is what you should have just seen, is you will see the wall by the front door. And then look at the edits that follow that. And in purple, I did it in purple because that showed up pretty good, you will see the drops of blood on the wall. Now that to me looks like cast off. It is not coming from a gunshot wound, and it's not coming from any type of an angle, because they're just drops of blood on the wall. So that tells me it was probably cast off from something that was swung to hit whoever, and I don't know whose blood that is, but that person was hit, and then whatever they were hit with as the person was doing their follow through on their swing or whatever, that blood then spattered onto that wall. And then the next pictures after that are going to be the blood that's behind the chair in the entryway. And you will see where there are like strings, I don't want to call it strings, like straight lines sort of blood along with blood spatter. And I don't know if that was, did they drop something and drag it? Was there a tarp or something that they used have too much blood on it, and as they were moving it? Don't know. And it's just not enough information. However, it's just to show you that you have straight lines of blood, and then you have the spatter as well. Two separate incidences. Okay, these next few pictures show the blood on the floor that is in the entryway between the chair and then the wall. We just have a couple of those, and take a look at those briefly, and then we'll go into the next important section. Okay, the final part of this is the part that I really want you to pay close attention to. This is the quote-unquote bloody footprints. They're not footprints at all, and I can prove it to you, and I will be proving it to you. These prints were made with someone using a gloved hand. It's a simple art project that a lot of people will use. You take your hand and you kind of make this kind of now remember, they've got a glove on because there are no prints in this. It's just strictly flat out blood. So they take this part of your hand and you're using only this section. The pinky here makes the little toe. This makes the quote-unquote arch of the foot, of the ball of the foot. You take that and they put blood on that, and then they put that on the floor. But before they did that, they had an imprint. And when you look at the pictures, I edited out or brought up what was underneath, what they used as a baseline to make these footprints. You'll be able to see it plain as day. They made like I don't know what they used to do this at first, but it was whatever it was, you can see the outline that they used to make their prints. Simple as day. You make these, put blood there, they then put it on the floor, then dipped their finger in blood and made the rest of the quote-unquote toes. The so-called big toe, I'm not quite sure how they did that one, if they just took some blood and just kind of made like almost a question mark. but you will see it. You look at these photos, pause this video when you get to those photos and look at it. You will see it. They have one of it plain as day, pinky being the little toe, and then there's like another section, you see it end, where like, and then they kind of like did another one. And then on the other photos, on the next set of footprints, you will see where they actually just drew a circle, put a drop of blood or whatever. I think they drew a circle on that one. And then you see where they just took blood and drug their finger down to make it look like that's what a toe was. Guys, we got you dead to rights. The jig is up. They're not footprints. They're not. It's a simple child's art project. Look it up. Google the term how to make footprints using your hand. There are several videos out there that will show you how to do it, and you will see what I mean. But that's exactly what you did. I now have proof. We now have proof that these are not footprints. And if these aren't a bloody footprint, again, David didn't do this. He was murdered. This was staged, and very, very poorly. To you out there who did this, and I have a feeling you watch all of our videos, you are busted. I may not be able to pinpoint who you are, but you're busted. For the rest of you, look at these, and my heart breaks to know what this family went through at the hands of these people who are still running free. And they're in your neighborhood out there in Minnesota. They're still there. These people are walking around your neighborhood, and you should be on the police to make sure that these guys are caught, apprehended, and thrown in prison for what they did. I don't think I would want, I know I wouldn't want them running around in my neighborhood. Look at these photos. And at the end, I'm going to put a picture of the family. So not only will you see this beautiful family, but I want those of you who did this, as you're watching, go to the end. Stare at this family, because I know you do. I think you relive this every day, and I think you're pretty happy about what you did. But this beautiful family and this man who was the scapegoat for your crime needs to be shown to the world. He loved his family. He loved everything he did. He was a veteran. He was a war veteran. He was injured over there. And he was a writer, a filmmaker, and a phenomenal human being. Did he have his faults? We all have our faults. But you guys, plural, this was done by more than one of you. Yeah, I'm narrowing you down, and I think I have you actually pinpointed, and I'm not the only one. There are a bunch of us who have it pinpointed. But no proof. So what do we do without the proof? I can't do anything. But as of right now, you're free to walk. And that makes me sick. This family deserves justice. For the rest of you, look at this ridiculous kindergarten artwork of these so-called footprints. Hi everyone, I wanted to jump in here real quick and talk about this piece of paper, the one that shows the mathematical configurations of the degree of angle that the blood spatter actually hit the floor, made impact. We have anywhere from, what's the smallest degree I think I have here, is like 14.5 degrees. So that's at a very low angle, like toward the floor. Anywhere up to, what's my highest, like 40 degrees. So again, as I've said before, these were multiple events. They did not happen at the same time. We have different types of blood. We have coagulated blood, we have regular blood stains, and then we have skeletonized blood stains, and they are all going a lot of times in different directions, 3-4 different directions. So that means who's ever, and I went back and looked through the reports to see if they actually ran tests on whose blood that it belonged to when they swabbed them. They took a swab, but these are not, the results are not showing up in the reports that I have. So as far as I know, they didn't test all of the blood. They only tested certain parts of it. And these particular spatter patterns, were swabbed but were not tested. So I don't know who this was that was moving around, but if it could have been two of them at once. I don't know. We don't know until they actually test that blood and give the results. We won't know whose blood is on this floor and who's on the walls. We have some on this one and then one right by the door. Anyway, the lower degree angles, that's at 13, 14, 15%, that's going to be closer to the floor. Say this is a plane that's maybe about here. And then we have the 40, the 30, anywhere from 30 to 40 degree angle, that's going to be more like up here. So, they could have been standing, it could have been, maybe it was Camille because she was smaller, she was shorter, or if it was David and he was sitting in the chair, and that's maybe how the blood got on the corner of the chair. We don't know. That's pure speculation. However, I just thought I needed to explain that, the different degrees of angle, and I found them anywhere, again, from 14 to 15% degree of angle up to, or yeah, not percent, 14.5 degree angle. Forget I said percent. 14.5 degrees of angle all the way up to 40 degree angles. And again, multiple events. This was not a one-time shoot somebody in the head and you leave and you commit suicide. This was torture, and it went on for a while. And now we're going to go into the very last set of footprints, the ones that were created with the kindergarten paint your fingers, stick it on the floor type thing. And that explains why there was only the right foot. There was never a left foot anywhere. It was just the right. And it makes so much sense now because none of these bloody footprints ever made sense. They had a gloved hand. They had it in this position. They put blood on this part of their hand. They stick it on the floor. This creates the pinky, and then you can see where they dipped their finger in blood and then made toes prints. And when you look at the shadow, and especially pay attention to where the big toe is, you'll see like a whole complete circle. It's totally separate, and you see underneath this blood where they laid down some sort of pattern to follow to create that footprint. And man, you guys did a bad job. It was obvious it wasn't a footprint to begin with, but wow, really. Next time be a little more creative. Oh, I pray to God there's not a next time. But the next time you play art and do painting on a picture, you might want to try to hone your craft a little bit better because this is so obvious. Yeah, I'm being snarky. Sorry, but after looking at this and after spending days and weeks crying and shaking and walking and pacing the floor at night wondering how you could do this to somebody, the brutality that you showed in what you did, there are no words for that. There just are none. And how you live with yourself and how you go from day to day out there wandering the streets free. And you may not believe in God, you may be an atheist, but you know what? It doesn't matter what you believe. It's what is. And you'll meet your maker one day, and you will stand in judgment for what you've done. All of you. Every last one of you.